Gardevoir everything. Gardevoir all the time. You open the newest pack of Pokemon cards, boom, Gardevoir. Oh yeah, the return of Mega Pokemon to the Pokemon TCG. Now, these Mega Pokemon from our upcoming Mega Evolution expansion are different than the previous Mega Evolution Pokemon that were released in the Pokemon TCG. All of the Mega Evolution Pokemon EX from the X and Y era were two prize Pokemon that you had to attach a silly little spirit link to in order to not end your turn when you evolved them. Basically, it seems like the Pokemon Company was trying really hard to make it so that the X and Y Mega Evolution Pokemon were not overpowered, almost too much so. The Spirit Link mechanic, I think, was a relatively unpopular mechanic, at least from what I could tell while playing through the era. It kind of made it so that you just had to devote 4 deck spaces to these Spirit Links. And then one of the most frustrating things about the Spirit Link deal was that the Spirit Links didn't go together, right? So if you wanted to play 2 different Megas in your deck and you didn't want to end your turn every time you evolved, you had to play 2 different sets of Spirit Links, which was pretty much just unreasonable. Nobody ever did that. So decks just had to waste a lot of space on Spirit Links. They kind of sucked. So stoked to see that these new Mega Pokemon do not have the whole Spirit Link thing going on. However, it is also weird. We've got Mega Gardevoir EX evolving straight from Kirlia. That's not really the way that it goes canonically in the Pokemon franchise. Mega Pokemon Mega Evolve from their regular form. So a Gardevoir evolves into Mega Gardevoir. Manectric evolves into Mega Manectric, right? But for, I guess, ease of mechanics, they kind of simplified it in the Pokemon TCG by just making it so that Mega Manectric EX evolves from Electrike. So your Electrike can evolve into a regular Manectric or a Mega Manectric EX, kind of skipping over the whole Mega Evolution thing as we know it from the video games. And honestly, that doesn't bother me that much because the Pokemon trading card game is its own game and its mechanics kind of have to make sense within the confines of itself. Personally, I like the fact that the trading card game developers don't feel like they have to, mirror exactly what happens in the video games one-to-one. I think I would find that more annoying if Creatures, the company that develops the trading card game, felt like they had to, mirror the video games at all costs, even if it meant worse gameplay mechanics. That being said, it is kind of easy to imagine Pokemon doing the Mega Evolution thing correctly, right? Because in the past, we had Pokemon Break, which were essentially Mega evolved like Pokemon, right? They were stage 3s. They were additional evolution steps. We also had Pokemon Level X, which were also a kind of leveling up mechanic, not too different from the idea of Mega evolving. So it is a little bit funny that they decided to just do away with these kinds of mechanics that would have made more sense for Mega evolving and instead just tried to go for simplicity and just make your regular Pokemon evolve into Mega Pokemon. First Mega Evolution Pokemon I want to talk about is Mega Venusaur EX, the biggest of them all. 380 hit points. It's got an ability and an attack. Solar Trans makes it so that you can move your basic grass energy around your board freely, which is really good. It's also a callback to the original Venusaur from base set, which had the Energy Trans Pokemon power. It is cool to see that ability reference, the classic base set Venusaur from the first set of the game. And this ability can be very good in current standard format since we have a great way to accelerate grass energy into play with Teal Mask Ogerpon. Mega Venusaur EX also has the Jungle Dump attack, which costs 4 grass energy, does 240 damage, and you heal 30 damage from Mega Venusaur. 240 damage is enough damage to knock out most of your basic Pokemon EX, almost all support Pokemon. So it is a decent chunk of damage. And with 380 hit points, Mega Venusaur EX is actually getting up to that point where it is pretty tough to one-hit KO, even for your one-hit KO style decks like Golden Go, right? Like Golden Go needs 8 energy plus a 9th attached to it. So it does need a lot of energy in order to take the knockout on Mega Venusaur. That being said, this kind of will be a common theme for Mega Evolution Pokemon. They give up 3 prize cards when they get knocked out, and there are certainly decks in standard format that can take clean one-hit knockouts on even the largest Mega Evolution Pokemon, like Golden Go EX and Raging Bolt EX. Now, it's not really worth talking about Mega Venusaur unless we are also going to talk about the other incredible grass support that we get in the Mega Evolution expansion, like Meganium with its wild growth ability, which makes it so that each basic grass energy attached to your Pokemon provides 2 grass energy instead. That makes it so that your Mega Venusaur can take a That makes it so that your Mega Venusaur could take a Jungle Dump for just 2 grass energy. And with the Teal Mask Ogerpon, you can easily accelerate those energy into play and then move them to your Mega Venusaur, and you got yourself a pretty cool deck. Now, unfortunately, this is a lot of Stage 2 Pokemon, right? Setting up both Meganium and Mega Venusaur, well, that sounds like a lot of work. But wait! There is the perfect card to help you set up all of your grass evolution Pokemon, Lush Forest, which is a new stadium card that makes it so that each player's grass Pokemon may evolve into a grass Pokemon on the turn they were played, except on that player's first turn. So you gotta wait your first turn. No springing up Stage 2 Pokemon on the first turn of the game. But from turn 2 onward, you could play Lush Forest, a new stadium card from Mega Evolution, and instantly evolve up your grass Pokemon into play. Breaking the rules of evolution is pretty much always good in the Pokemon TCG, so I do expect Lush Forest to eventually see some play. If Lush Forest isn't good, it's not because the stadium is not good. It's because grass Pokemon are just in a terrible spot in the Pokemon TCG. And honestly, of all the types in the Pokemon TCG, it does feel like grass Pokemon are always getting the short end of the stick. This does feel like the strongest grass support that we have gotten in a very long time in the Pokemon TCG. And with Meganium and Venusaur, it actually turns your Teal Mask Ogerpon into an absolute powerhouse attacker. Hydrapple EX also combos really well with the Meganium. It's got the Ripening Charge ability, which allows you to attach a basic grass energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon and heal 30 damage. And its Syrup Storm attack does 30 damage plus 30 more damage for each grass energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So you do have this option as well. Personally, I was having a lot of fun with the Mega Venusaur, but Hydrapple EX is certainly also an option. Up next, we got my dude, Mega Camerupt EX, a Stage 1 Mega Pokemon with 340 hit points and the Roasting Heat attack, which costs a single fire energy. And if your opponent's active Pokemon is burned, the attack does 160 more damage. So 80 plus 160, 240 base damage plus the 20 damage from burn. That's 260 damage, but wait, there's more. If you've got Magmortar in play, then you put 3 more damage counters on your opponent's burned Pokemon between turns. So that 260 turns into 290 damage for just a single fire energy, and that seems very good. Obviously, 290 damage for 1 energy is quite good. However, the thing about Mega Camera Up DX is that it's just a 3-prize Pokemon, right? And your opponent only needs to knock out 2 Mega Camera Up DX in order to win the game. And Mega Camera Up DX is not actually one-hit KOing most Stage 2 Pokemon with its Roasting Heat attack. So my question becomes, why would you play a Mega Camera Up EX deck over Golden Go EX, right? Because Golden Go EX is also a Stage 1 Pokemon EX that can take big one-hit knockouts for just a single energy. It does seem like Golden Go EX is just better. You also don't have to play cards like Volcanion EX in order to burn your opponent's active Pokemon before you attack, right? Golden Go EX just deals damage and also draws cards, which is something that Mega Camera Up EX does not do. There's just no reality where I would rather play the 3-prize Mega Camera Up DX over Golden Go EX. Golden Go EX is just the better Stage 1 Pokemon EX that does a lot of damage for 1 energy. But if you like camels, why is Burn never ever good in the Pokemon TCG? Honestly, is Burn the most maligned, most forgotten, most ignored special condition in the Pokemon TCG? I mean, Burn gets absolutely no respect. Poison has done some pretty good things in the game's history, but Burn has like never been good, ever. And that doesn't change with Mega Camera Up. I'm sorry. All right, now I think this card is really cool. Cinderace has got the explosiveness ability, which says if this Pokemon is in your hand when you are setting up to play, you may put it face down as your active Pokemon. Old heads like me will always look at a card like this and be like, you know, Talonflame from Steam Siege got 2nd place at the World Championships in 2016. Nothing is impossible, chat. I remember watching this World Championships. Cody Walensky, Greninja Break, featuring 4 copies of Talonflame. I mean, how cool, right? This Cinderace has got the Flare Turbo attack, which costs 1 colorless energy, does 50 damage, and allows you to search your deck for up to 3 basic energy and attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. Objectively, a very strong attack, but I don't think that there is a combination with this Cinderace that really makes sense right now. I think conceptually, the Cinderace could be used to power up a big Mega Evolution Pokemon that doesn't have any other support available to it. Since Mega Evolution Pokemon give up 3 prizes when they get knocked out, hypothetically, you could force your opponent to knock out a Cinderace and then force your opponent to knock out 2 Mega Evolution Pokemon as well, right? And you'd be forcing the 7-prize game. I think that's kind of how the game designers imagined Cinderace potentially being used. I just don't know if the game is in a place where taking that kind of risk with your setup makes sense with all of the other better options available right now. Talonflame did get 2nd at Worlds. I can't totally discount it, right? Like, I just can't. Mega Lucario EX seems to be, from early results from Japan, Mega Lucario EX seems to be the most successful Mega Pokemon EX. It's a Stage 1 Mega Pokemon with 340 hit points and 2 great attacks. Aura Jab, for 1 fighting energy, does 130 damage and allows you to attach up to 3 basic fighting energy from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. And then Mega Brave does 270 damage for 2 fighting energy, and during your next turn, this Pokemon cannot use Mega Brave. All pretty good. I mean, just some pretty decent stats on that card, but honestly, it's kind of the support surrounding Mega Lucario EX that makes this card so good. So let's take a look at everything and talk about this card big picture, because the whole Mega Lucario deck is kind of like in this set. First of all, we've got the trainers, Premium Power Pro and Fighting Gong. Fighting Gong allows you to search your deck for a basic fighting Pokemon or a basic fighting energy and put it into your hand. Great setup card, great consistency card. It's awesome. It's like a fighting nest ball that could also get you a basic fighting energy. Wonderful. Then we've also got Premium Power Pro, like Power Tablet and Electro Power. Before it, Premium Power Pro makes it so that during the turn that you play it, attacks used by your fighting Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So they also stack, which means that if you play 2 Premium Power Pro in the same turn, then your fighting Pokemon are doing 60 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, up to 120 additional damage if you play all 4 Premium Power Pro during the same turn. And Premium Power Pro can really help your Mega Lucario EX hit those big numbers that you're going to want to hit to take one-hit KOs on Stage 2 Pokemon. Mega Brave with 2 Premium Power Pro is doing 330 damage. Aura Jab with a couple of Premium Power Pro can hit up to 190 damage. So you're really helping Mega Lucario to kind of reach those numbers that you're going to want to hit with both of these attacks. But even without Premium Power Pro, Aura Jab is one-hit KOing support Pokemon like Pheasantipity EX, since Pheasantipity is weak to fighting, and Mega Brave is one-hit KOing a lot of Stage 1 Pokemon EX like Goldango EX without any buffs. And then my favorite part of the new fighting support is the Solrock and Lunatone combo. These Pokemon are just so cool, and I love them. They're fantastic. Lunatone has the Lunar Cycle ability, which, if you have a Solrock in play, allows you to discard a basic fighting energy from your hand, and you get to draw 3. You can't use more than 1 Lunar Cycle a turn. And then Solrock is not just a bench sitter, folks. It's got the Cosmo Beam attack for 1 fighting energy, does 70 damage, and you can only use it if you've got a Lunatone on your bench, and the attack is not affected by weakness or resistance. So Solrock can kind of lead the charge for your fighting deck, not unlike Fan Rotom. And we have seen how powerful Fan Rotom can be in the Pokemon TCG for taking those early knockouts on evolving basics like Ralts or Dreepy or Gimmighoul. I mean, all decks are playing these small, low HP Pokemon to help set up, right? You've even got Badoo, which could easily get smacked by a Cosmo Beam. With the assistance of Premium Power Pro, Solrock can hit some really good numbers. With a single Premium Power Pro, you're dealing 100 damage with Solrock, which is enough to knock out most evolving Stage 1 Pokemon. I'm thinking Dracloak, I'm thinking Curlia, right? Because Cosmo Beam is not affected by resistance either, so you don't have to worry about fighting resistance on any of these Pokemon. You can also knock out opposing Fan Rotom, since Cosmo Beam is not affected by resistance. So a very strong lead for these fighting decks, and honestly, fighting Pokemon deserve it. Fighting decks are supposed to be these low to the ground, low energy, get out the gates quickly kind of decks. And finally, fighting decks have not only a consistency engine, but also a hard-hitting early option that they've been missing for quite a long time. Fortunately, the fun doesn't end there, because fighting decks are also getting access to Hariyama. And Hariyama has the Sumo Catcher ability, which says when you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you get to switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. So it's just an evolving-based gust effect, which can also be very good for allowing your Mega Lucario or your Solrock to chase down the exact target that you want them to hit early on in the game. Can also help you to close out games with Mega Brave at the end. Hariyama is also a good attacker. Its Wild Press attack does 210 damage for 3 fighting energy, and Hariyama does 70 damage to itself. If you use Wild Press a couple of times, I mean, you're going to be nearly knocking yourself out, but Wild Press can actually get in there. Aura Jab allows you to attach up to 3 basic fighting energy from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. You can throw 3 energy onto a Makuhita and then evolve into Hariyama, use Wild Press to knock out basic Pokemon EX. You can knock out Teal Mask Ogerpon, you can knock out Pheasantipity. I mean, a lot of basic Pokemon EX can get knocked out by Hariyama with a Premium Power Pro, you can even knock out the likes of Raging Bolt EX, hitting 240 damage. So a very strong attacker in its own right. And having both Solrock and Hariyama really helps the Mega Lucario deck to prize map in a favorable way. You can lead Mega Lucario EX and accelerate energy into play, and then take knockouts with Hariyama and Solrock, and then at the very end of the game, you can evolve into one more Mega Lucario EX and force your opponent to take a big 3-prize knockout when maybe they only have 1 prize remaining. And that can force an 8-prize game on your opponent, which is something that you're going to want to try and do if you're prize mapping in a Mega Evolution deck. So Mega Lucario, more so than any of the other Mega Pokemon so far, has like a great amount of support surrounding it to help it be successful. And I think that's one of the reasons that it's seeing the most success early on in Japan. There's also just some incredible synergy between Lunatone and Mega Lucario EX. Lunatone's Lunar Cycle puts those basic fighting energy into the discard pile, and then you get to accelerate those energy right back into play with Aura Jab. The Fighting Gong can go and get you a basic fighting energy out of the deck if you want a basic fighting energy to draw with Lunar Cycle. And since Lunatone is a single prize Pokemon, it really allows you to play that 8-prize game if you want to, right? Because you don't have to play other 2-prize support Pokemon like Fezandipiti EX in order to have a valid game plan with this Mega Lucario deck. You can play the Mega Lucario deck just like it's a single prize fighting deck, and then just Mega Evolve when it's correct to. And if we take a look at the City League results from Japan, Mega Lucario EX is also winning some City Leagues. So we could take a look at these lists and see what kind of lists are being successful early on in the Mega Evolution format. It seems like the most popular ace spec for Mega Lucario is that Maximum Belt, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because in combination with Premium Power Pro, Maximum Belt allows you to hit some sky-high numbers with Mega Lucario. You're hitting base 320 damage with your Mega Brave attack with Max Belt, and then with Premium Power Pro, you can hit upwards of 350, 380. You can knock out opposing Mega Pokemon EX. You can knock out Gardevoir EX through resistance. Yeah, you can hit some really big numbers. We see this list here is also playing the single prize Lucario with the Avenging Knuckle attack, which does 150 damage if any of your fighting Pokemon were knocked out during the last turn. 150 can easily hit upwards of 200 if you've got some buffs in there. You could also one-hit KO support Pokemon like Fezandipiti EX with that Lucario also. Really cool deck. I like this construction of the deck that we see right here. Now, the one glaring weakness of Mega Lucario is that it is weak to Psychic. Being weak to Psychic in current standard format is almost a death sentence. Every deck has to have a bad matchup. I don't think it's worth trying to like polish up your Gardevoir matchup with Mega Lucario. I really don't. I know I see a lot of questions in the chat like, how do we beat Gardevoir with this? You probably don't reliably beat Gardevoir with it, but you can beat a lot of other stuff and it's fun. And as far as like the deck goes, this is certainly the most promising, strongest Mega Evolution deck that we're seeing out of Japan so far. So for the Darkness Pokemon, we've got Mega Absol EX. Wow, let's talk about Mega Absol. 280 hit point basic Pokemon EX. It's got 2 attacks. Doom Period for a Darkness and a Colorless Energy says if your opponent's active Pokemon has exactly 6 damage counters on it, that Pokemon is knocked out. And then Cruel Claw for 2 Darkness Energy and a Colorless does 200 damage. Your opponent reveals their hand and you get to discard a card you find there. I just am not a big believer in this. We live in a world with Pheasantipity EX, okay? We live in a world with Pheasantipity EX. I don't believe in this card. We've got Mew EX. We've got Pheasantipity EX. We've got Teal Mask Ogerpon. We've got the new Mega Kangaskhan EX. Do you know how many support Pokemon there are that draw cards doing 200 damage and discarding a single card from your opponent's hand? It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. There's too much support out there. There's too much draw power out there. I'm not a believer in Mega Absol. I think this card is destined for the bulk bin. Spiritom's kind of neat. It's got the Resentful Maelstrom ability. Whenever your active Darkness Pokemon is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put 1 damage counter on the attacking Pokemon. So if you've got a bunch of Spiritomb in play, then you could rack up quite a few damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon. The Mountain Breaker attack does 10 damage, and you get to discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Neat. Yveltal, new basic Pokemon, 110 hit points, got 2 attacks. Clutch is the one worth talking about, though. Does 20 damage for 1 darkness energy, and during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. These kinds of attackers have been very good in standard format recently. This card could certainly see play in Grimmsnarl decks. Mega Mawile EX, 270 hit point basic Pokemon with 2 attacks. First attack, Greedily Devour for 2 metal energy, does 80 damage for each prize card you have taken. And then Big Bites for 2 metal and a colorless, does 260 damage. But if your opponent's active Pokemon has any damage counters on it already, it only does 30 damage. Here's a City League winning list from Japan. Archaludon EX featuring Mega Mawile. Archaludon famously only does 220 damage with the Metal Defender attack. Mega Mawile EX just being able to clear Goldengo's 260 hit points is really good. Something else that I really like about the Mega Mawile in the Archaludon archetype is that Archaludon just like very easily powers it up with its Assemble Alloy ability, which accelerates basic fighting energy from your discard pile to your metal Pokemon. And then you can also just clean up games with Mega Mawile's first attack. The Greedily Devour attack does 80 damage for each prize card you have taken. So if you have taken 4 prizes, which is pretty easy to do with Archaludon, knocking out basic Pokemon EX, little guys, all that. Then you can come in at the end of the game, and Greedily Devour will be doing 320 damage if you've taken 4 prizes. There are also, some other metal buffs in this set as well. The Iron Defender item says during your opponent's next turn, your metal Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks. It's like an inverse Premium Power Pro. Generally speaking, cards like Premium Power Pro that allow you to do more damage are just way better than defensive cards like this, but maybe Iron Defender ends up having a place at some point. It's hard to imagine right now since we live in a world just absolutely dominated by Monkey Dory, where Monkey Dory can kind of just always make up the difference 30 damage at a time by just using Adrenabrain and chucking 30 extra damage onto your Pokemon. It's hard to imagine that Iron Defender would actually work in a format with so many monkeys monkeying around, but maybe eventually Metal Defender could be a thing. Mega Abomasnow EX, 350 hit points, 2 attacks, Avalanche Hammer. Discard the top 6 cards of your deck. This attack does 100 damage for each basic water energy discarded in this way. If I discard 4 water energy, then I'm doing 400 damage to water energy. Yeah, I don't know. I tested this, okay, with Jesse Parker here on stream. I tried really hard to make the best Abomasnow deck that I possibly could. We had 30 water energy in the deck. 30! That is 50% of the deck. And trust me, I wanted this thing to work. Why did I want it to work? One of the most popular videos on my channel is 40 energy deck pure domination. I don't know that anything will ever beat 40 energy deck pure domination. I don't know if it's possible. 30 energy deck kind of mid performance doesn't quite have the same ring to it. Mega Abomasnow certainly bringing that silly energy to the table. I found that you can like sometimes hit 400 damage and sometimes you're going to hit 200 damage and lose really badly, actually. You've also got this Kyogre with the Riptide attack, which does 20 damage for each water energy in your discard pile. Then you can shuffle those cards back into your deck. The problem is if you play this Kyogre, then you might start it, which is not good because you don't want to have to play silly cards like Switch in your Mega Abomasnow deck because all you really want to play is Mega Abomasnow and then the cards that help you get Mega Abomasnow into play. That's it. Every non-water energy card that you play is a card that you might discard off of Avalanche Hammer, and then you're going to miss the knockouts that you want to hit. Anyways, very silly, very funny deck. Not at all legitimate or real. Do not put any sort of mental time or emotional effort into this deck because it will betray you. There's this Clawitzer dude, 130 hit points, got the reverse and reload ability. Once during a turn, when this Pokemon moves from the active spot to the bench, you may attach up to 2 basic water energy from your hand to this Pokemon. Ew, from your hand? Oh, it's worse than I thought. I don't even want to read it anymore. Mega Manectric EX. Stage 1 Mega Pokemon, 330 hit points. It's got 2 attacks and free retreats, which actually combos really well with the other lightning support in standard format right now. Electric with the Dynamotor ability, which accelerates basic lightning energy from your discard pile to your benched Pokemon. Mega Manectric EX does offer the lightning pool of cards something valuable. It's got the Riot Blaster attack, which costs 3 lightning energy. You can discard all energy from this Pokemon, and if you do, it does 130 more damage. So you can hit 330 damage at any point in the game. And then Mega Manectric also has the Flash Ray attack, which does 120 damage and prevents all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's basic Pokemon during their next turn. So against a deck like Raging Bolt, you could just go like Flash Ray, Flash Ray, Flash Ray, and just probably win. In order for Raging Bolt to actually knock out your Mega Manectric, they can do it, and they will. They would have to use Prime Catcher to push it to the bench and then use Boss's Orders to bring it back out into the active spot. If you use Prime Catcher and Boss in the same turn, you can push it to the bench, which resets its Flash Ray effect and negates it because all effects on Pokemon are removed when they get pushed to the bench. Still not even a surefire dub versus any smart Raging Bolt player, but interesting nonetheless. The Mega Manectric EX having free retreat and being able to do 330 damage, I think, is the best part about it. Lightning is not really doing incredible things in standard format right now. I mean, you've got like the Joltik box deck. I think Mega Manectric is just kind of okay. From my testing with it, I wasn't super impressed. I think that Mega Manectric is not like the answer for beating your Gardevoir decks. In order for Lightning decks to beat those setup decks, you really just got to go turbo hands. And Mega Manectric doesn't really help you play into that strategy at all. Additionally, something else that's really bad that I have found is that when you're playing against Gardevoir EX, they can just use their Mew EX to copy Riot Blaster and knock you out in one hit easily, which is really bad. It's hard for me to take a card like Gumshoe seriously. Well, thank goodness Gardevoir is getting more tools for standard format. God knows it needs the help, am I right? Mega Gardevoir EX. Of course we've got a Mega Gardevoir EX. Why couldn't it have been Gallade? Why does Gallade never get anything nice? Gardevoir everything. Gardevoir all the time. You open the newest pack of Pokemon cards, boom, Gardevoir. Mega Gardevoir EX got 360 hit points and 2 attacks. Its first attack, Overflowing Wishes, costs 1 Psychic Energy. And for each of your bench Pokemon, you get to search your deck for a basic Psychic Energy card and attach it to that Pokemon then shuffle your deck, and then Mega Symphonia for 1 Psychic Energy. Does 50 damage for each Psychic Energy attached to all of your Pokemon. Why is Mega Gardevoir EX giving major Alcremie VMAX vibes? Mega Gardevoir EX obviously enters standard format at a time where Gardevoir EX is already the best deck in the Pokemon TCG. You could slot a single Mega Gardevoir into your Gardevoir EX deck to just one-hit KO things with Mega Symphonia. With 8 basic Psychic Energy, it is certainly easy to imagine a Mega Symphonia dealing 400 damage. This time that Mega Gardevoir EX gets to exist alongside Gardevoir EX is limited. Rotation will be coming in the spring. Gardevoir EX from Scarlet and Violet base set will rotate out of standard, just leaving Mega Gardevoir. It is kind of worth thinking about this card as a standalone card as well, and there is a lot of support for Mega Gardevoir EX even without Gardevoir EX from Scarlet and Violet. We've got a couple of things right here in this set. The Grumpig with the Energy Step ability allows you to look at the top 4 cards of your deck and attach any number of basic energy you find there to your Pokemon in any way you like. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't really expect this Grumpig to be any good. It is just explicitly way worse than Metang, right? Metang's got the Metal Maker ability. Maybe I'm just spoiled. Metang gets to do this like every turn of the game, and Metang is only like decent. There is the Suspicious Watch item card that allows you to choose one of your evolved psychic Pokemon and put any number of its evolution cards back into your hand to devolve it. But again, that's it just takes a lot of cards and takes a lot of effort compared to a card like Metang that just kind of like keeps going every single turn. Grumpig is just not very good, right? It requires more cards to use, and Metang is like kind of barely good. So Grumpig is really just not good. Now, this Mega Gardevoir EX will eventually inherit the new Wonder Patch, which is not coming out in Mega Evolution. These cards here are from the starter decks, the Mega Diancie starter deck, the Mega Gengar starter deck, which are going to be releasing in the West, in the upcoming months. Wonder Patch is just a Psychic Dark Patch, right? Just a Psychic Aqua Patch, a Psychic Metal Saucer. Psychic is getting the item-based energy acceleration treatment that many other types in the Pokemon TCG have gotten throughout the years. My guess, at this rate, doesn't it seem like every type is eventually going to get this? There's Glass Trumpet for Colorless. Fire has got Magma Basin, right? Like you could Magma Basin is kind of it. But anyways, the Wonder Patch certainly will combo with the Mega Gardevoir EX, allowing you to, launch big Mega Symphonia attacks. You could also just kind of like shuttle out a Mega Gardevoir EX into play and use the Overflowing Wishes attack to accelerate energy into play, and then Mega Symphonia for like 400 damage. This card just seems good, and obviously can slot right into successful Gardevoir EX decks right off rip. And then the card might even have some life in a post-Gardevoir EX rotation world. Not a lot of dragons in Mega Evolution, but there are a couple. Mega Latios EX and Latios. They're intended to be played together as, I don't know, are they brother and sister Pokemon, or are they lovers? You guys are killing me in the chat. Mega Latios EX got 280 hit points. It's a basic Pokemon EX with 2 attacks. It's got the Strafe attack, 40 damage, switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, and then Mirage Pulse for a Fire, Psychic, and Colorless. Does 300 damage. Wow. And you have to discard all energy from this Pokemon. Latios has got the Luster Assist ability. Once during your turn, when Mega Latios EX moves from the bench to the active spot, you may move any number of energy from your bench Pokemon to that active Pokemon. So it basically just shuttles all of your energy to the Mega Latias, and Mega Latias can use Mirage Pulse. That's all well and good, but it's terrible. I'm sorry to say it's terrible because you just might as well be playing Pikachu EX, right? If we just compare apples to apples, Pikachu EX is just strictly way better than the Latias EX. Yeah, because Pikachu EX, very similar thing, right? Except Mega Latias EX has got 280 hit points. Pikachu EX only has 200 hit points. However, Pikachu EX is far superior because it's got the Resolute Heart ability, which makes it so that it can't easily get one-hit KO'd. And it's also a Terra Pokemon, so it inherits all of the buffs that Terra Pokemon get, like access to the Noctowl engine, access to Area Zero Underdepths, access to Sparkling Crystal Aspect to make its attack cost and energy less. It only gives up 2 prizes, where Mega Latias EX gives up 3 prizes. It's got built-in bench barrier. So yeah, Mega Latias EX, Pikachu did it better. Sorry. You know what I was missing in my Pokemon TCG? The 300 hit point, 3 prize card basic Pokemon. Thank God we've got a 300 hit point, 3 prize Pokemon back in our Pokemon TCG. How could I even wake up in the morning when there's no 300 hit point basic Pokemon legal for standard play? Thank God Mega Kangaskhan is bringing it back. 300 hit points and the run errand ability. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you can use this ability, draw 2 cards. Now, you can't use more than 1 run errand ability each turn, because apparently that would be too broken. So Mega Kangaskhan EX, he draws cards, and then he's got a terrible attack, which is very par for the course if you look at all of the Kangaskhan that have ever been printed. Rapid Fire Combo for 3 colorless energy, does 200 damage, and you flip a coin until you get tails. The attack does 50 more damage for each heads. Not the best attack, but it's possible to imagine it being used. Colorless Pokemon do have a lot of support after all. We've got the Glass Trumpet, right, which accelerates energy to your bench colorless Pokemon, so we do have that. There's also Boufflant, right, which can use its Curly Wall ability to make it so that your basic colorless Pokemon takes 60 less damage from attacks. So, I mean, all of a sudden your Mega Kangaskhan is looking a lot scarier when it's taking 60 less damage because of Boufflant. It's not like the most insane thing to imagine a Mega Kangaskhan EX focused deck. The real thing about Mega Kangaskhan, though, is that it just gives you extra draw power in combination with Latias, right? So Latias EX, obviously one of the strongest basic Pokemon in standard format right now because of its Skyliner ability, which just makes it so your basic Pokemon in play have no retreat cost. The one thing holding Mega Kangaskhan back is its fat 3 retreat cost, right? So not a very mobile dude. However, with Latias EX, it's got that easy breezy free retreat since Mega Kangaskhan is a basic Pokemon. So you can just promote your Mega Kangaskhan EX, use the run errand ability to draw 2 cards, then flip the script with Pheasantipity EX to draw 3 more cards. You know, like maybe Mega Kangaskhan EX gets used in those kind of big basic draw engines. Mega Signal is a new item card. Allows you to search your deck for a Mega Evolution Pokemon EX and put it into your hand. That's good. Anytime you got free search, it's usually good. Acerola's Mischief is a new supporter card that you can only use if your opponent has 2 or fewer prize cards remaining. Choose one of your Pokemon in play during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX. I think that this is a cool effect. In decks that can search out Acerola's Mischief on a key turn, this seems like a neat way to make comebacks, making your Pokemon invincible to your opponent's Pokemon EX. You can only use it if your opponent has 2 or less prize cards remaining, so its use is limited, but it is very powerful. And I think that, designing your route in a game to incorporate Acerole's Mischief is fun. I mean, it forces your opponent to have a game-winning boss's orders or to have a single prize Pokemon that can take a big knockout at the end of the game. And I think that that's neat as well. I don't expect Acerole's Mischief to see a ton of play, but I expect it to kind of see play in the same way that Briar saw some play. Something that is interesting is that Acerole's Mischief doesn't just make it so that your active Pokemon is protected, though that's usually the Pokemon that you'll probably protect. It says choose one of your Pokemon in play, and then that Pokemon is, invincible to attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX. So if you've got a liability on your bench, say you've got like a big Mega Evolution Pokemon in the active, you're not really worried about that dude getting knocked out at the end of the game, but maybe you are worried about losing the game with your opponent going boss on the Fez. Then you can use Acerole's Mischief to protect against your Fezandipity on the bench. So I think that's interesting. It's at least interesting card design. I don't know that I've seen a card quite like this before from creatures, so I like it. We've also got a big healing card, which is crazy because as we have continued to watch Pokemon get bigger and bigger and more bloated, it's crazy to think that you could just heal all the damage that's on one of your, nearly 400 hit point Mega Evolution Pokemon. But Wally's Compassion allows you to do just that. Heal all damage from one of your Mega Evolution Pokemon EX, and then you put all energy attached to that Pokemon back into your hand. Obviously, if you were playing this card in a Mega Venusaur deck, you could use Solar Trans to move the energy off of your Mega Venusaur, use Wally's Compassion to heal all damage from the Mega Venusaur, then move the energy back and go from there. A healing option for the biggest Pokemon ever released in the Pokemon TCG. It does come at the downside of returning the energy to your hand, but with cards like Mega Venusaur, it doesn't really matter. Surfing Beach is a new stadium card. Says once during each player's turn, that player may switch their active water Pokemon with one of their benched water Pokemon. Nice little switching out for those water decks out there. And I know some gamers are immediately thinking, this is going to be incredible for my pet Palafin EX deck. That's right. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. The best combo I can think of is with Palafin EX. Palafin EX has got the Giga Impact attack. 250 damage for 1 energy. It's pretty good. 340 hit points. That's Mega Evolution numbers, but Palafin only gives up 2 prize cards. It's a regular Pokemon EX, which is really cool, right? And unfortunate thing about Palafin EX is it's got the Hero Spirit ability, which says that this Pokemon can only be put into play with the effect of Palafin's 0 to Hero ability. So you have to look up, okay, what is 0 to Hero? What is that? Okay, here we are. 0 to Hero. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from the active spot to the bench, you may search your deck for a Palafin EX. Holy crap, it works with the stadium, folks. Surfing Beach. There we go. Perfect, right? Surfing Beach allows you to switch your water Pokemon around. 0 to Hero activates when you switch your dudes around. It's like Surfing Beach was handcrafted in the lab for Palafin. Somebody at Creatures Inc. was like, you know what? I love Palafin. And Palafin is not nearly as good as we thought it was going to be when we were in the lab cooking this thing up. So we're going to need to release a buff. And they did. There's also the new Mystery Garden Stadium card. Once during each player's turn, that player may discard 1 energy card from their hand to draw cards until they have as many cards in hand as they have psychic Pokemon in play. Thank goodness we've got more purple buffs. It kind of reads better than it is when you realize that the stadium is actually not good early on in the game. You only get to fill your hand to the amount of psychic Pokemon you have in play. If you have 5 Psychic Pokemon in hand, then you get to discard an energy and fill your hand to 5, which is pretty good. 6, obviously you're filling your hand to 6, but you have to have 6 Psychic Pokemon in play. That's no Fezandipity, right? It's a very balanced card. I think it'll see some play, but it's not like the most broken thing ever. We've also got the new Lieutenant Surge's Deal, a supporter card that says, ask your opponent if they agree to have each player take a prize card. If your opponent agrees, you each take a prize card. And if they don't, you get to draw 4 cards. What a funny card. I love cards like this. I think one of my favorite trainers ever is probably Challenge. Ask your opponent if they accept your challenge. I love that. I think the game should have more stuff like this. This card seems much worse than that because you're asking your opponent if we could both take a prize card. Is this their solution to like games? Too many games are going to time. We should just let players like just take prize cards for free. This supporter, however, is not silly at all. This is one of the strongest supporter cards ever printed. It's crazy to think. I mean, when I started playing the Pokemon trading card game eons ago, dang near 15 years ago, when I started playing competitively, like Professor Oak's New Theory was one of the staple supporters that you would see in like tons of decks. Just shuffle draw 6, right? Just like a vanilla shuffle draw 6. And then later on, we would get Cynthia during the Sun and Moon era, right? Which again was just a shuffle draw 6 in Ultra Prism. And these cards were both very good during their time. The formula has never been altered, really. I mean, it's just shuffle draw 6 has always kind of just been like the premium shuffle draw supporter. It's never been buffed. Lily's Determination is just shuffle your hand into your deck, draw 6. But if you have 6 prize cards remaining, draw 8. Absolutely mind-blowing. This is a huge buff to the shuffle draw 6 equation. Shuffle draw 6 is just like a vanilla good supporter, like just a good supporter, right? Like decks would play that just because it's a good supporter. Now, the fact that you could shuffle draw 8 at the beginning of the game is absolutely nuts. Starting the game with an 8-card hand is good. It is really, really good. That's about as good as it gets. A ton of decks are going to play this card. A ton. There's a lot of decks that are just never going to think about playing research anymore because Lily's Determination is the best way to start a game. Shuffle draw 8. Just start with an 8-card hand. If your opponent doesn't disrupt it, then you're drawing, you got 9 cards in hand. I mean, it's insanity. A lot of decks are just going to be playing 4 of these off rip. And then Shuffle Draw 6, that's not even a downside. Like Shuffle Draw 6 is just a fine draw supporter at any other point in the game. But then getting to start with a Shuffle Draw 8, control decks now have the option to just Shuffle Draw 8 the entire game. It's nuts. This is going to be a format warping card. This is going to be one of those like forever supporters that's just like forever good. It's right up there with like your Ends, your Ionos, your Researches. Dangerous Ruins is another new stadium card, but we've seen this type of effect in the Pokemon TCG before. But Dangerous Ruins says whenever any player puts a basic Pokemon, except for Darkness Pokemon, onto their bench. So even if a Pokemon is being searched out of the deck via Buddy Buddy Poffin or Nest Ball, it still gets smacked for 2 damage counters by Dangerous Ruins, which is really good. I mean, honestly, that makes me look at this stadium in like an entirely different light. You could play Dangerous Ruins with your own Monkey Dory and then move damage counters off your own Monkey Dory, which is already something that's like happening all the time in standard format. You could play Dangerous Ruins as a way to just get some chip damage on your opponent's Pokemon. You could play it in Dragapult decks to try and get extra damage counters on your opponent's board so that you can take knockouts more easily with Phantom Dive, so maybe you don't have to worry as much about getting that Hawlucha down on the turn that you want it to deal 70 damage to a bench Pokemon. Yeah, Dangerous Ruins, just cool stadium. Nice update on this classic kind of residual damage stadium formula that we've seen in the past. And that is going to do it for our Mega Evolution set review, y'all. Which cards are you most excited about from our upcoming Pokemon TCG expansion? If you're watching on YouTube, let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Again, huge shout out to Full Grip Games. Full Grip Games is going to be hosting the Mega Evolution $6,000 cash doubleheader weekend, September 27th and 28th. We have the standard $3,000 cash Mega Evolution legal event happening Saturday, September 27th, and the Gym Leader Challenge $3,000 cash Mega Evolution legal event happening on Sunday, September 28th in beautiful Akron, Ohio. So make sure to mark your calendars, make the trip out if you can. Signups are available at fullgripgames.com. Now, I'm going to be casting the entire event with my good friends JW Krewall and Riley Hulbert right here on Tricky Gym all weekend. So it's going to be an awesome time. I'll see you then.